What's up, everybody? This is Jesse. You're watching JLS Comics, and welcome to my very first live Q&A AMA, which is an Ask Me Anything. I decided to do this to be fun and just kind of shoot off the cuff. If you guys have questions or want to, for whatever reason, get to know me a little bit more for, things outside of that superhero thing that I'm normally doing here, then this is the place to do that. You do it anytime, but especially here. I did take some questions ahead of time, so I am going to answer those. I have them here. Come join me in the live chat. As a reminder, I will be doing this on the first Saturday of each month, and I'm going to shoot for the 5:30 time slot. We'll see if that works out or not. This is the first one, and honestly, I didn't do a very good job of advertising, I guess, that I was going to be doing this. So yeah, just shoot me the questions here in the chat, or if you have some later, you don't want to ask it now, send me a message, send me a comment, and I can put that for the next episode, which will be the first Saturday of May. So we'll do that. I have a couple people here with me already. We have Jason Smith. What's up, Jason Smith? And Philly Superman as well. I'm a little bit late. I do apologize. I actually, you can probably see it on my face, but I fell asleep. I woke up and it was 5:28, and I said, "Oh shit!" So I had to run and get this all set up really quick. I didn't do like the setup for the video and everything, so I had to rush a little bit quickly there. So I just kind of threw in a title, and that's another thing I want to ask from you guys. I want to come up with a cool, and I've been thinking myself, but I'd like to ask you guys as well for some ideas for the name of the show. This because I don't want to call it QMA AMA. That's sort of, it's descriptive of what it is, but it's kind of generic. So if you guys have any cool ideas or something kind of catchy for that, I'd be happy to hear that and put that on the list of things. So ETA Nick, glad to have you here, even though you can't stay long. So he's getting ready to go out to dinner with his family, which is really cool. I actually went to a really great Indian restaurant today for lunch. It was a late lunch, but they do a really good job there. It's a buffet style. It's a place that I've been to quite a few times. And if you like exploring other cuisines, I recommend checking out Indian cuisine. And most people get, a couple of the regular things, but they do have a whole other menu there. So yeah, ETA Nick loves it as well. So that's really cool. It comes out, they do the buffet, but then they'll bring you the naan bread, and usually they'll bring you some chicken as well. But the chicken was up at the table instead of them bringing it. Really good. All right, cool. So that is it. And I guess we'll just jump right into the questions I have here. I'm going to start with these, but I will go back and forth. So if you guys ask things over here in the chat feed, I almost forgot the word. Let me know, and I'll put them there, and I'll read them. So the first question that I had was from Scotty. And he says, "Do you recall your first interaction with comics?" Now, that's an interesting question. I have some very early memories of comics. They're talking like when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And I have like these fleeting glimpses of having some comics or finding some comics or buying them. But I don't know which one exactly came first. But they were just so far back in my memory that, doing my best to keep those neural pathways alive. But I do remember, even at that age, we would always be at my aunt's house, and she would always send me to the store. There was a little corner store that was around the corner and up like a little hill towards the main road. And I would go there, and I would like get her a drink. She would give me some money, and hey, go get a soda. And, here's some money if you want to get one of the comics off. They had a spinner rack, and then they also had some shelves that were right next to the counter. So there was the counter. I remember this place pretty well. There was the counter, and then there was on this side, when you walked in, there was there was a smaller place, but they had little rows of like, the non-perishable goods and stuff. And you had to walk straight back, and that's where you would have like the soda refrigerators. And I remember they would always be leaking from the coolant or the water, so you'd always have to step on these like wooden boards to get it. Anyways, this one day I got a soda for her, and got my comic, and I kicked, because I was holding my comic. I remember I kicked the soda can all the way back to the house. It was all beat up. It was covered in mud and dirt, and there was dents everywhere. And I gave it to her. And she's like, Jesse, what happened here? What did you do? Did you kick the can? Did you drop it? I'm like, no, no. So she told me to take the can. She said, okay, that's fine. I'll believe you, but go outside and open it. So I went outside. It was like a little, like a walk up step and then the little porch area to the front door. So I went out to the front, opened it, and like half the thing exploded out all over the place. I know she was watching me out the window. But that was one of the earlier ones that I remember. I do remember getting a couple books. So a couple of the first books I've ever owned were Avengers, West Coast Avengers Annual 2, which I've talked about plenty of times. But that was a book that I actually got. It kind of tied with another book that I don't talk about as much. Yeah, I did give it to her. I handed it to her. Didn't think she noticed all the dents and the dirt all over it. You know, that's not how they come from the store. But, you know, being that young age, what do you don't know any better. So the West Coast Avengers Annual number 2, which was actually, and I didn't know this until years and years later, it's actually a part of a 2-part follow-up to Contest of Champions, which was it's one of, if not the first event that Marvel ever did. With the champions all, you know, fighting, and they didn't conclude the story until many years later when they did Avengers and West Coast Avengers Annual as a 2-parter for that, and that was in like the late 80s. And then another book that I remember getting, and I have to look it up because I don't remember the exact. I want to be precise. But I think it was from the first volume of Superman, and it was one of the annuals. It was the one with Superman on the street. Here it is, Superman. And Superman Annual Volume 2-1. Okay. I'm going to screen share it. So it's Superman with Titano. And Titano's like trying to like step on him to crush his foot or crush his whole body, and he's holding him up above his head. And it's one of the first comics I ever got. It was one of those times when I was sent to the store. I got to open it first, don't I? And I had my name written all over it. You know, I was proud to own that book. It's a pretty badass cover. So it's a tie between those two. It's that one. So had those. I had that other one, the Contest of Champions follow-up, which was the West Coast one, which is another really cool cover. It's a cover where all the heroes are like dead on the floor, and they do die. They have to die to be able to go to this world where they can actually fight. Post Avengers. I'm going to show this one to you too. This one, I remember I had my name right on the front of it. I didn't know anything about condition back then, or, you know, how to protect your books. I just thought they were like badass reading material, you know? So this was the other one of the first ones I remember here. See that? So that kind of proves that I've always been Marvel and I've always been DC. The 2 books I remember having were a Superman book and an Avengers book, you know? But those are all kind of part of my early memories with comics. And I'm not quite sure to answer specifically the question, which one was the first one. But those are some of my earliest interactions with comics. And I actually had an uncle who was an auctioneer. And he would sometimes auction off big lots of comics. And the ones that he would have, you'd have maybe just do the keys or whatever it was. But sometimes he would just throw away like these giant piles of comics. And I remember picking through it one day, and as one of those, probably like 5-6 years old, picking through there, just getting the cool covers, not really knowing anything about anything, you know, just picking out whatever, you know, jumped out at me. So that was from Scotty. That was his answer to his question. Do you recall the first interaction with comics? Jason Smith says that he had that West Coast Avengers one. Yeah. You had to get that one. And then there was a Avengers Annual that went with it. So it's two of those, and then to get the beginning of the story, you need to get the it's a two-part book, Contest of Champions, and it's the first like event that was its own book that Marvel ever did. So I recommend it. It's pretty cool. It doesn't go for much at all, considering how important that type of thing is to like the history of comics. You know, doing the first solo event thing. You'd think it would command a bit more money, but it doesn't. A couple bucks in here. That's all you really need to pay for that. Manny, what's up, Puto? How you doing, man? Glad to have you here. Jason Smith said he made a mistake. He was at Midtown, and he thought he hit the X, and he got the ASM connecting by mistake. So what do you mean? So you accidentally bought a book? Yeah, they'll let you cancel. Which one did you get? Was it this one? This is the connecting cover, I think. Is that the one you got, Jason? Oh, and I got these. I was watching a video from Gem Made Collectibles. You guys should check out his channel if you haven't. And he did like a card thing. He ordered like a made really cool frame with the cards and stuff. And the cards he got were the 92, I think it was, Marvel Masterpiece cards, which are some that, going back to that question, I remember collecting, well, in 92, 93, whatever. I remember there was a shop that I would always go to. I would go there after school, and I was there all the time, you know, reading. One day she was like, this isn't a library, but I ended up buying a lot of stuff from her. I would always get these little packs here whenever I could. I would buy these. I would buy my Magic, the Gathering cards later on when they were out. She had some up on the wall. I would buy my Beckett sports card books from there. I would buy my Wizard books from there. And I would get these with my allowance whenever I could. But I remember I loved how these looked in terms of like the Joe Jusko artwork. I didn't know who that was. I just thought these were really badass. And just full disclosure, I already have the set here in the sleeves, not in a book. But after seeing the fun of him opening the card, I wanted to get these just to reopen them, just to see. And actually, this is the base set. I don't have the holo cards, the holo foil cards, which were a little bit more rare. So anyways, I'm gonna get a lot of doubles, but I was hoping for maybe like that Thanos holo foil card. That'd be cool. You never know. If you guys want me to open these right now, let me know. Otherwise, I'll do that in a separate video. Contender says, what is your favorite cut of meat? My favorite cut of meat. I don't know. Cold cuts. I eat those most. That must be my favorite. So there you go. All right. Philly Superman. He has a couple questions here. He says, what other fandoms are you part of? Most of the other fandoms that I'm part of have spawned out of comics and stuff, or they've been a part of like me for a long time. So like going back to old cartoons I used to watch, like Voltron and He-Man. I would watch Thundercats, you know, all those really cool shows that I know all of you guys watched as well. So I'm part of those. I love my Star Trek, Star Wars, Game of Thrones. I'm into a lot of different things, you know, outside of comics, but all of them sort of have either grown out of that or been with me as long as I've been with comics. So, yeah, Lord of the Rings as well. I know we were talking about that last night on the show. Phillies love them. Randy has the holofoil, yeah. There was the one that the Thanos one is the one that I really liked. I thought that one was really cool. And unfortunately, one day I brought the books to. I had a whole book of like the different years of it, and then I had like all my hockey cards, my basketball cards, my football cards. So I had all these different folders. I brought them to school one day, and this one jackass was like, "Hey, let me borrow these. I'm going to go show my friend these." Never came back with them. Never came back with them. So I lost all those. So someone stole them from me right out of my fingertips. Gomez says, what are you reading right now? I'm reading Spider-Man, or Amazing Spider-Man, that is. I'm not reading Spectacular. So I bet on this. This is on my, I'll show you what my pull is that I got this week. So I'm reading Spider-Man. I have actually a few of these. I got the 2 of the regular cover for this. And I think I have them over here. And I also got, well, obviously I got that one, but then I also got the Terry Dodson cover, which I have here. I ran out of bags and boards, so I got this $7.98, and then the one on the back, I used this bigger bag to hold them both. And then I also got this one here, Terry Dodson cover. Okay. And then this is the connecting cover by I think it's Humberto Ramos. I believe it's Humberto Ramos. So I'm reading Spider-Man. And that's been on my pull list. That's one of the titles, and that'll be an answer when I get to it in a minute, that I've always liked Spider-Man. So I've been sticking with that one through the good times and the bad times, you know, the good and the bad. I'm also reading All New Wolverine. I really like, I have always called her X-23. I really like Laura, and I like Tom Taylor on this book. I'm kind of like, I'm going to use the word sad. I'm sad that it's ending, but I will be checking out the new X-23 run when that comes out. I'm also reading Marvel 2-in-1. This is really fantastic, and this is my Fantastic Four fix until we get our Fantastic Four back. So I like that. I picked this up too. I added this mini series to my pull list, even though I wasn't all that impressed with the first issue. But I'm gonna stick with it and see where it goes. Also, been reading Batman. I like Batman. I really like Tom King. It's been a little bit slow at times, but I've definitely been sticking with it because it's something that, you know, hey, it's Batman. Why not? Also reading, I love this story. It's Batman White Knight. Got this cover here, which is the cover B. And this is the penultimate issue, so we got one more to go, and this will be done. But Sean Gordon Murphy did say that he is working on potentially us getting a volume 2. So that's pretty cool. I like that cover. That's a really cool cover. Anything with cars on it, cars or motorcycles, I'm there. And I hate to say it, but I haven't been reading this. I've just been picking these up for the Frank Cho covers. So I have this whole run here of Frank Cho. I don't know how the story is. I'm sorry, Frank Thierry, if you're ever watching this. And then same with these. I've been picking these up for the for those covers. Oh, and I got this as well, just to check it out. Haven't read it yet. Venomized. I'm going to see how that is, even though I'm pretty much burnt out on the Venom stuff. You know, you never know. You never know. And it's by, oh, it doesn't say. I don't know who's writing that at all. So that's pretty much it for the new stuff that I'm reading. So hope that answers your question, Gomez. If you could only be a part of one fandom, which would it be? Comic books. Definitely. Because everything else is somewhat, like I said before, connected to that. You know, I can still get my Star Wars by reading it. I can still get my Star Trek. I can still get Ninja Turtles. You know, Power Rangers is in there. There's been Thundercats that I could pull out, you know, from the past and read. There's a game with George R.R. Martin has a comic book. You know, all of these other things are rolled up into comic books. That's been one way that all these industries have been able to help promote things, is via comic books and licensing out their stuff. So by being part of comic books, I still get to be a part of all those other things. So my answer for that would absolutely be comic book fandom. So if you could only buy one title monthly, which would it be? That's a really tough question. I don't want to say I hate, but the questions where you have to pick one of something are so tough for me, because like you can tell by that answer, I'm like so spread out with like all this stuff that it's hard to pick just one thing. But for that, I'm going to say, and I think it ties into an answer for later, I'm going to pick Spider-Man. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But yeah, and as I said before, with Amazing, even through all the highs and lows of Slots Run, I've still been wanting to stick with it, keep it on my pull list, and just push through on it because it's Spider-Man. Like I said, that'll tie into something I'm going to answer later. So I'm going to put a pin in that, and then we'll come back and take the pin out, and we'll answer the rest of that. Sweet Exorcist, nice to have you here as well. I see Nerdivision, Tats Comics, Gomez, I think I said hi to you. Jason, or Jojo as well. Nice to have you here, Jojo. So Gomez says, thanks for sharing. Absolutely. I'm happy to do this. I've been waiting to do this for a while. And like I said, I don't know if you caught the beginning, but I'll be doing this on the first Saturday of each month. So there'll be more of these. And I need you guys' help with a title, like something to call these, other than like Q&A, AMA, which is fine. Like I said, it's descriptive, but I want something a little bit more catchy, I guess. I don't know. I'll be working on that myself. Sweet Exorcist says, have you seen the Black Panther? And if so, where would you rank it amongst superhero films? That's a pretty good question. I did see Black Panther, and I absolutely loved it. I got to see an early screening of it. I have a review up as well for it, and I ranked it super high. I really loved. It surprised me. I really loved how in-depth it was, especially with the villain and how relatable the villain was. That really surprised me there. And it was just overall just a really, really good story. And I would rank it probably are you asking in terms of all superhero films, or are you looking at just the MCU? Because I think for me, Winter Soldier is still my number one movie for the MCU, but I would put this right below that. So I hope that answers the question. So Sword says, okay, can you please elaborate around Bitcoin, its future, and how you think it will impact the political environment? Well, honestly, I never got into Bitcoin. I don't like the cryptocurrencies. I've always been saying that is a bubble that will burst, and we're seeing that right now. It will burst. And so its impact is greatly declining. And I think that, especially in regard to the political environment, that will be very minimal, if not a nil impact on that. So I don't know a whole lot about it, but that's my answer to you for that. But that's a funny question. Thank you, Sword. Cool. So you said you'll check out the review. Yep, it's up on my review. I did a playlist for all the movie review stuff that I have up. So got that for you to watch, and the other ones too. I try to watch those. I will be hopefully checking out Rampage on Tuesday as an early screening, and that's based off of a old video game. I don't know if you guys knew that. Goes and fights the monsters and stuff, so it'll be pretty cool. We got Undisputed Frost in the house, Undisputed Club, alien face. Get the alien face like this, right? So got that going on with us. All right, cool. So the next question we have is, oh geez, Jason, what are you doing to me, man? Come on with these. Okay, he says, if you were creating, wait, no, I answered that. Man, that is a tough question to pick one of something. So I said Spider-Man for that. If you were creating your own comic, what genre style would it be? That's a tough question. I think I would go for like a sci-fi, like special forces type of thing, but in like a noir style. I don't know. I think that would be pretty cool, because you could do sci-fi, you get to do like your Black Ops stuff, and then it's like a little bit artsy with it. So I think that would be kind of cool. But then eventually I would want to just do up like straight up like Marvel House style superhero stuff. I would love to write Spider-Man, something like that. That'd be cool. So if I was in the Marvel 616, who would I be? I would be would you be a hero, a villain, a mutant, an inhuman, or a supporting character with maybe no powers? I don't know. I wouldn't be that. Like Marvel's, which is a really cool miniseries. It's awesome, but I wouldn't want to be the person looking up at the guy doing stuff. I would want to be in there myself doing stuff. Frost, no, I do not. Okay, I'm answering that right now. Jumping out of this for a second. No, I do not. So no, you cannot sell me yours, which is weird, but I know that was your next question. Oh, damn it, you lost my train of thought here. I would be a mutant, but I would be a hero mutant. So I would want to be part of the X-Men and like help them do badass stuff. And what would my powers be? I would want like healing factor, adamantium, bone structure overlay. And I would also like to be super smart, so I could create inventions like helping out Spider-Man with like web stuff. There you go. So I get to like help Spider-Man, who I like, and then be a part of the X-Men. But Spider-Man was part of the X-Men for a while. He was at the school when it was Storm School. He mixed up and meant to say Jay, not Jason. Let's see. Nerdivision says, "Hey Jesse, throughout your whole comic collecting life, what was your best garage sale in the wild find?" Oh geez. That's tough. I haven't done too many the garage sale stuff. I need to get into that and like some of the flea market stuff. I like that. I hear a lot of like really good finds, that people have. The best one, I guess it would be like, hitting up the dollar bins, and I haven't had any like crazy, things like that happen for me yet. I found a bunch of dollar bin type books for, like $20, $50 range, but nothing like too crazy. So finding like $20 to $30 books in the dollar bins is kind of the extent of, my finds for that. But I need to get out and do more like the thrift shops and flea markets, garage sales types of stuff, because I know that's where like the real gold of finds is. So hopefully I'll be able to do that in the near future. Let's see here. Sweet Extra says, "Are you enjoying Marvel's Strike Force? I've been trying to join the Alliance." Yes, I am. I'm having a lot of fun with that. It's a really cool game. I know you've been able to play it without being in the Alliance yet, so I know you kind of know that sort of how the gameplay is. It's very similar to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, if you guys are familiar with that in terms of the gameplay there. I am part of an alliance with Exile State. He's in there. A couple other guys are in there, and it's run by Mike Spiderslayer from Comic Book Corner 2.0, as well as Comic Frontline. He's the guy there. And I'm happy to say that I'm a captain in the alliance. Yep, that's right. And I have ranked up so far to level 32. My Punisher is well on the way to 2,000 in terms of his power and abilities. So pretty cool. Undisputed Frost, the answer would be neither. Neither standing up nor sitting down. Okay. That's not my thing. Okay, so he's going to be real. He says, "What do you think about the editor-in-chief of Valiant leaving?" I think that is more telling, in fact, than when Dinesh left in terms of the direction of the company. I think that he there was another guy that stayed. I think it was the publisher when the whole news came out, and then Dinesh said he was leaving, but staying on as a consultant. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I think that having these other two guys there to keep the company running in the direction, the look and feel of it is okay, But now with him leaving, I don't know what's going to happen there. So I'm a little bit worried in terms of the future and direction of Valiant. So we'll have to see on that. Philly Superman, he's talking to Undisputed Frost. And you guys can all read this if you do the live chat replay. It's right down below. So you can see what I'm reading as well. It says, "I think you're having too much fun with the anything in the ask me anything." Yeah, you know what? It's cool. It's cool. Ask whatever. If I don't want to answer it, I won't answer it. So that's the whole point of this, just ask me anything, whatever it is. Because I would never do a video on whips, but if you want to know about whips, ask me about a whip. Don't know much about whips, but it's funny. I actually watched the the Dr. Marston, the William Marston movie today that talked about his life and the two women he had in his life and how that impacted the Wonder Woman comic in its early years and still does, quite frankly. But pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So very liberal use of the whip in there. So yeah, I figured I would mention that to you. That was part of that. Okay, NLC says, who is your favorite Avenger and why? And would you like to have, or do you have his or her first appearance? My favorite Avenger. My favorite Avenger is Captain America. Just because Captain America is really cool. You know, he represents the country. Punched out Hitler, you know. But no, I do not have Captain America's first appearance. I wish I did. I don't have much Golden Age stuff at all. Actually, I don't. I mean, literally, I probably only have a couple Golden Age books. I think my earliest books go back to like mid 50s. So we're right in the middle of the silver, beginning to middle of the Silver Age there. Beginning 50s would be the beginning of it. So yeah, I don't have Captain America. I would love it, but I don't. Yeah, I'll try to send you an invite, Sweet Exorcist. I don't know if I can. After this, well, I know that that Mike's been trying to get you sent those invites and stuff. So we'll one way or another between Mike, Justin, me, and everybody else, we'll try to get you in there. There's a spot for you, so we'll figure it out. Count says, "What's going on, everyone? What's going on to you? How you doing, man?" Undisputed Frost says it's raining. He's working and he can't wait to get off and play some Far Cry 5. How is that? I've been looking at that and some of the gameplay and stuff. It looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. Sounds like you've been having fun with it, but let me know if that's something you would recommend maybe me picking up, because I'm looking for some other type of game on my PS4 to get. So that might be one I look at. So Nerdivision says, if you can pick only one, which artist, creator, dead or alive, would you love to interview? I would love to interview. Oh, geez, that's a good question. I would love to interview Jack Kirby. Love to interview him and talk about his life, because it goes back so far. It touches on all eras of comics. It touches on Marvel. It touches on DC. He's just someone that impacted comics, and you guys know this, and just his art style is just so iconic, and it's a fan favorite of so many people. He's part of that trifecta of Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and Jack Kirby, and unfortunately he's the one of the three that have passed. So yeah, I would love to interview Jack Kirby and just start at the beginning of his life, do like a feature-length film basically all the way up to the end, chronologically. Tell me about your life, Mr. Kirby. That would be such an honor. Okay, Bill Everett or Bill Watterson? Oh, he's talking to Nerdivision. Okay, so the next question I have here is okay, so if you were on DC's Earth Prime, similar question to before, to the main universe, who would you be? A hero, villain, supporting character? Who's your favorite oh, wait, that's the next question. So if you are in DC's Earth Prime, who would you be? I would be Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is pretty badass. You get the magic powers. You get to invoke the powers of the gods. You have like all this strength and wisdom and, all these powers, and you're basically a peer with Superman. I wouldn't want to take Superman's spot because he's got the mantle, but I would be basically up there at Superman's level. So I could hang out with Superman. He's a little bit, Superman's very, very, he wouldn't go out drinking to the bar with me, but I think we would still have a lot of fun. So I would absolutely be Superman. And then you get to be, a kid later on, because, at the end of the day, we're all in this and we're all still kids at heart. So I would still get to be that too. So that would be pretty cool. So yeah, I would be Captain Marvel or Shazam, whoever you want to call him. But that's my answer to that. That's a good question. What's your favorite non-comic or comic genre related TV show? Actually, I was reading these before and I was thinking for quite a while about it. because I like a few different things. I really like there's a show on, I think it's on History Channel, about Oak Island, which is up in Canada. And it's basically this island where they say there's a massive like treasure buried. Some people say it's the Ark of the Covenant. Some people say it's precious jewels from, stolen from the crown of England. Some people say it's like some like world-changing thing that the Templars, snuck out of Europe. There's a lot of different theories around it. And they have this pit, they call it the money pit. And there's all this, they dug down, and they've been doing it for a while, for centuries. And actually, FDR was one of the people who had an expedition there to dig it out. But it always floods. They have all these tunnels from the ocean because it's on an island right off the coast of, I think it's off, not Newfoundland. It's a little bit south of there. I can't remember what the thing is, but it always floods when they try to dig down. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I always watch that. They always find like coins and, things that are help with the story, but they don't quite answer any questions. And then if anything, the things that they find are cool, but they leave more asked and unanswered than actually answered. But I know it's a cool show. It has me sucked in. It's called Curse of Oak Island. But that's not my favorite. I think my favorite is Family Guy. My favorite is Family Guy. I've been watching that since the beginning. Love the humor on there. It cracks me up all the time. I think Seth MacFarlane is freaking hilarious. He gets all these people in there. Adam West was in there. You get like tons of comedians and guest voice actors and stuff. It's just always crazy. And I like it. Family Guy. You just can't beat Family Guy. You get Brian in there. Stewie is just crazy. He wants to kill his mother. You got Meg, who was the lady does his voice, who every time I see her, I always think of, she's like a beautiful, beautiful lady, but I always think of Meg Griffin because she does the voice. So yeah, but no, I like Family Guy, and right now anyway, that's my favorite. Gomez said he met the lady who poses for Lady Mechanica. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you met Joe Benitez too, right? I loved Joe Benitez art style. Every time there's a Lady Mechanica book, I always pick it up. I don't know what the story will be. I know it's a continuation sort of, but I absolutely love the artwork. He does that with Peter Steigerwald as a colorist, and he worked with Michael Turner and stuff over at Aspen. But I know he's with Benitez now. But yeah, that's amazing that you met her. Hope you met Joe as well. Nerdivision says last question: if you were a piece of clothing on a comic hero or heroine, who would you want wearing you? What the hell? Okay, if you were a piece of clothing on a comic hero or heroine, who would you want wearing you? Oh man, I don't know. I guess, geez, I do not. No. Well, you know what? That's sort of a safe answer because those are on the outside of his pants, so they wouldn't be touching anything. I'm talking to you, Frost. No, if you were, I have to think about that one. If you were a piece of clothing on a hero or heroine, who would you want wearing you? Does a helmet count? Like, could I be like Nova's helmet? That's a cool helmet. Maybe that. Is that clothing? That's more like armor, I guess. I don't know. I'd be a cape. I'd be Shazam's cape. Since I picked Shazam earlier. There you go. Haha. Shazam's cape. Okay. What did you think of the Namor Aquaman beatdown? And what would you have said that wasn't said? You know what? That was hilarious. Okay, so if you guys don't know, over on TiVo's channel, Lords of the Long Box, he does this new thing called the Fanboy Fight Club. So you pick one thing and you debate with somebody else. And in this case, it was Marky316 and Undisputed Frost. Frost had to defend Namor and say why he was superior to Aquaman, who Marky was defending. And Marky was a few shots in, I guess, but it was absolutely hilarious. Marky, I'm not quite sure what his argument was. I know he was putting out a couple things. He showed some books, you know, that what was it? The one where he lost his head, which later got put back on, Supreme something. I can't think of the name of the title, but I don't really know what his argument was still to this day about why he was superior or is superior to Namor. And then they showed some really interesting covers, I guess you could say. But Frost was defending Namor, and he, in my opinion, he absolutely won. He had the more coherent argument, and he was able to more coherently say why Namor was superior. So I chose him, and I'm taking out the whole who had more insults part of it, because it seemed like afterwards that was something that a lot of the people were like, well, I don't know, because Marky dropped more F-bombs. But no, if you just base it just off of Namor versus Aquaman, Namor won that, in my opinion. So Frost won. And I think you guys did a good job of covering all of that. I don't really know what else to say about it to help defend the case. But hey, man, you won, so you don't really need my help, right? Thank you. Squadron Supreme, that's right. That's right. That cover where like his head was off and they were just kicking it around like a soccer ball afterwards. Pretty badass. But he got his head back. Next question I have is favorite Star Trek series and why. This is an easy one for me. I do like most of them. My favorite one is Star Trek The Next Generation. That's what I watched in the 90s. Watched that every week. Would watch that. I think it was on Fridays. So we'd get home, long day at school, long day with my parents working, and we would buy pizza or something. It was kind of like our pizza day, and we would watch that, and we would watch Seinfeld and a bunch of other stuff. But that was a show that I really liked. And, you know, there's another question coming up about Star Wars or Star Trek. At this time, there really wasn't anything for Star Wars. Like it wasn't, you know, after Last Jedi, there wasn't anything, you know, for a long time until the late 90s. And that's where I was heavily invested in Star Trek, because that was the sci-fi thing on at the time. That was, you know, getting the movies that had the weekly show. And I watched pretty much, it got to the point where, and that was a time when, yeah, you could record off the TV on a VHS, but you didn't have like DVR and stuff. So it was just whatever, you know, was programmed to be watched. And it got to a point where pretty much was seeing everything in rerun. So, you know, and then later, obviously, I watched all the ones that I might have missed. But I felt like even at that time, I had watched pretty much every episode of The Next Generation. So, yeah. So for me, it's that. Not because it's like the most badass tech or anything like that. It's just because I have that connection to when I was younger. So TNG for me on that. So Scotty, and this kind of goes back to what I was asking before. He said, what was the comic title that got you buying comics regularly? Oh, no, actually, this is different. So remember that shop I told you about where I was buying these packs from and stuff? I was there so much, I actually ended up dating the owner's daughter. Took me to her prom. I took her to my prom and stuff like that. So this was later on, but yeah, that tells you how much I was there. So I would kind of buy like random stuff until X-Men came out. X-Men #1 that everybody bought, you know, those millions of copies sold. Once I read that, I'd been reading Uncanny and stuff, random issues, you know, but that was the title that got me into buying, you know, consistently, you know, each one, or if there was a gap, seeking out the holes in the run. So like I would go, and then they would reference back to maybe something in Uncanny, so I would go get that issue, and then I would realize, wait, there's only 5 issues separating these two I have. I need to get these ones in here. But that all kind of started with X-Men #1 for me. Aquaman got his hand cut off and he went emo. Yeah, he did. He had like a hook for a while. I think he did. It's pretty cool. The uni, you cover everything. Yeah, you do. Yep. You get to cover everything. So like a uni with a hood and a mask. I don't know. That would be kind of weird. I think they have that like green guy looking thing that people get. I don't know. What is your favorite comic book YouTuber? And you can't say yourself. Oh God. Okay. Who's my? I gotta answer. I can't not answer it. So, what is your favorite comic book YouTuber? And you can't say yourself. Um. Okay. So Marvel Entertainment has a really great YouTube channel where they do live streams. They do a lot of like one-on-one videos and weekly series, and that's all through the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel. DC has one as well, but they don't put up as much stuff. That's where they put up the video for CB announcing Fantastic Four coming back and stuff. So, I'm gonna go with that one. And the reason I'm going with that one is because I don't want to answer none of you guys and like have anybody else be like, oh no. So I gave you an answer, but I don't think it was the community here that you're looking for. So Marvel Entertainment's YouTube page. Yeah. So damn, Jesse, you love yeah, right? you know. And I didn't get a discount. I did not get a discount. I should have. How's my day going so far? Pretty good. I was telling the guys earlier that I went for Indian food today, which was really good. Was watching. What was I watching? I was actually watching Krypton, and I fell asleep. And I woke up at 5:28, 2 minutes before I was supposed to go live with this. So that's been my day pretty much so far. Let's see. Star Trek or Star Wars, and why? Oh, Jay, don't ask me no question. Man, come on, man. That's like saying, do you want to stick your hand in a running lawnmower or a blast furnace? Like, you don't want to pick either one, obviously, but now I gotta, Star Trek or Star Wars. Man, I don't know. That's a tough one for me. I don't think I can answer that, Jay. I really don't, because I love both. I really love both. I don't know. I can't answer that one. Nope, I'm not answering that one, Jay. I'm skipping that one. I'm sorry. Executive decision here. I'm not answering that because I like both. They're both great for me. Exactly. Coke or Pepsi. I'm going to cough. God, making me choke with that kind of question. This types of question. Yeah, I know they are, and it's really tough. But I don't think I can answer that. Or you know what? I'm gonna think about that one, and we'll come back to it. Okay, so remind me about that. But that's just a tough question for me. Best non-star, so Star Trek, Star Wars, science fiction show. Best one, so science fiction. I like The Expanse. Black Mirror is pretty good. Yeah, I'm go with one of those for that one. Those are pretty cool. Why do you love Batman? I do love Batman, don't I? Scotty asked me that. Why do you love Batman? I love Batman because Batman is a guy who is just a guy, and he just had a dream to kick ass. And he's a little bit cuckoo, if you ask me. So you got this super rich guy, and he wants to go on this mission and spend all his money on tech and training to go out and just revenge and kick people's ass. So he's pretty cool. But he did that so well, and he's so smart and planned it out so well that he can go toe-to-toe with people like Superman, with the Justice League, with Suicide Squad. He can stand up there, even though he's a mere mortal, with all of those others as their peer or as their opponent, and hold his own. It's pretty amazing that somebody who is like us, basically, he started off as a kid, a human kid, in a well-off family, and grew to where he is now, just based on pure drive and, lifetime solo vision and, using everything else to achieve that goal, which is pretty amazing and inspirational, but at the same time, a little bit loony. That's kind of like me. I'm just kidding, except for the loony part. What was the most challenging part of starting your own YouTube channel? The most challenging part was starting it. It wasn't so much the decision to start, but it was figuring out how to do it in a way that wasn't crappy. You know, if you, my first video is still up and it's really horrible. I left it up just to leave it up so people can go back and laugh at it. But you know, I decided that I wanted to do it, and my first video, I didn't have any of the equipment that I do now. I just did it with my phone. I was holding it up, and I didn't know about portrait versus landscape and the way it would upload. So it's a portrait mode video, so you get the black on both sides and then the video in the middle. Yeah. But the most challenging part, I guess, would be kind of just, I don't know. You just have to figure things out as you go along, and you learn from experience, and you learn from your successes, and you learn from your failures, and you grow and evolve from that. And just understanding that there will be successes, but there will be failures for you along the way as well. That's part of the learning process. And maybe I didn't know that at the beginning. So I was a little kind of, taken aback when there were some failures and, some questions about, did I want to continue with it, or, is it something that was right for me? But understanding that taking that failure, turning it into a lesson and growing from it is important. And if it's something that you did want to do, just stick with it and apply that to the future and grow yourself from that. So I guess that's the answer to that. Okay, Donnie says, what are your thoughts on Krypton so far? I've been enjoying it. I'm up to, I just finished the second episode. It's good. It's not one that I absolutely love. But I think I will get into it more when some of the more like heroes come back from the present day, or the villains come back. Maybe we get to see more of Brainiac in future episodes. But I really like the idea of them exploring Krypton to this extent, and in this far in the past, we really haven't seen this. There was the Krypton miniseries, not mini. There was a comic for a while about Krypton, but above and beyond that, we really haven't seen a whole lot of Krypton in that day and age, and just Krypton as a whole. So I do like that aspect of it quite a bit, and I think they're doing a pretty good job with it. In terms of the way they've set it up with the guilds and the rank lists and the whole caste system that they have established for Krypton. I think it's an interesting approach to it. I never thought of really as Krypton as having like the rank lists or the people that were like down below, because you think of Superman as like somebody who is for all people, and he wants everybody to be kind of on equal grounds. Everybody should have their fair shot at things and be able to be saved equally. So you kind of think of that to yeah, I've always applied that to Krypton as a whole, but that's clearly not the case. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting show. I'm going to stick with it. I got to catch up. I think it's the third episode now, so I got to watch that. Then Donnie says, how many comic books do you have right now? I think I'm right around 5,000. Very rough estimate. Right around 5,000. And I do want to cut that down a bit. So I need to get rid of some things, sell some things, things like that. So so Jojo says, same with his first video. Yeah, I think that was kind of how a lot of people did their first videos. Just kind of like shooting it, and you don't have cameras, like you don't have any of these good cameras, or the microphones or the lights I have over here, web cameras. You don't really know what you're doing at that time, so we use our phones. I think that happens with a lot of people, but I guess the idea is, if you want to do it, even if you don't have something, you still can. It doesn't have to be perfect or amazing or super fancy, but you know what? You did it. Just your phone and a dream. So then Sweet Extra says, do you think that comics will eventually go fully or primarily digital? Maybe in the distant future, but I think people have been saying that would happen. very soon for a long time. But there's something to be said about holding one of these in your hands and flipping through it and reading it. Something about collecting them and having a physical copy and having there be some sort of perceived value to some of these things. Like, you know, I got that right there. If I had that book right there in digital, it wouldn't mean as much to me as it does having it in the paper form that is right there. Also with the slabs, you can't slab a digital. Those are fun to have. It's a good adjunct and it's a good addition to the collecting world, but I think it won't replace it for quite some time. Maybe I'm a little biased with that answer, but that's how I feel about it. Hope not. Yeah, that would really I agree. So people making supper, Jason's cooking burgers. That's pretty cool. You cooking those outside or are you cooking them on the stove? You grilling? So Nerdivision says, in a parallel universe, what do you think your parallel self is doing or maybe collecting? Well, if we go with the parallel universe theory, there are infinite versions of me doing an infinite number of things. So whatever you can think of is what my parallel folks are doing. And there's even like evil versions of me. So even in some parallel universe out there, I'm out there like burning comic books and laughing at people while they cry while I burn their collections, which is pretty awful. But you know what? There's a whole parallel universe out there for that. And I'm glad it's not this one. Okay. So we had the most challenging part. What was one of the most fun things about starting your own YouTube channel? One of the most fun things. I guess it was getting some of those first comments in and realizing, you know, I was reaching out to people, they were reaching out to me, and there was like a connection there, and there was a real true community out there, even though we're just separated by, you know, the cameras and stuff. It's a real true community, and it was really awesome to realize that I was still new, but, you know, hopefully if I stuck with it, becoming a part of that. And that's still to this day, and that's why I'm doing this, and that's why, you know, it's fun with the comments. Even now, is that interaction with folks and being able to talk about this stuff and share our likes and our interests, and, you know, you guys telling me things and all that good stuff. I just like being part of the whole social interaction around YouTube. I think that's the most fun for me. So that was from Scotty. He asked me, I've been part of the frontline community for some time. He says, I'm sure you would agree it's a fun ride, and it is. What's it been like for you? So being, you know, it's been fun. I like all of the folks there. Kat, I remember your name this time. I like Kat. I like Jason. I like Chris. I like Mike. I like the other Mike. I like everybody there. It's a really fun community there. They got great topics. There's people that are very focused, as I mentioned with myself, on the interaction aspect of it, reaching out to the folks watching, interacting, talking with them, and sharing news, but also getting stuff as well. And they're just a really overall great group of people. So I'm happy to be there as part of the frontline community. Absolutely. Are there any comics creators, characters you would consider overrated? Overrated. Let's see. No, I'm not gonna. No, not for me. Because everybody likes different things. Yeah, that's right. I sent you a PM. I'm not going to say that somebody, because every character is somebody's favorite, or every book was somebody's first, or every book is somebody's favorite. So I can't sit here and say that something that you like or that you have a connection with or that's your favorite is overrated. I don't think that would be right for me to say. Later peeps got to go eat. Okay, Jojo is going to go eat. Cool. You going to go eat some burgers with Jason? Jason's grilling some burgers. I think he wants you to hang out with him. Okay. So I think I got to all the questions. Yep, that's all the questions I had from before. Do you guys have any questions for me here? I'll keep answering and I'm not quite sure how long this has been going on. But I was trying to keep it to about an hour or less. Captain Morgan pose. Oh, that's cool. You're doing the Captain Morgan. You got your knee up. That's a pretty triumphant pose. It doesn't say how long I've been going, does it? Some bitch. What comic character would you revamp if you had to? That's a tough question. I think I would revamp Venom. Yeah, I'd revamp Venom and take away all the symbiotes from everybody else. I would take away the Poison X. I would take away all of this whole giant thing and just take it away and make it something else in a Stanley Presents type of way. I like what he did with Batman. He made him like actually like a lot more like a bat or something like that. Oh, it's been an hour. Okay, so I'll probably wrap this up pretty shortly here. Kind of try to keep these to about an hour. So I'll take maybe like a couple more questions. And I did want to open these up. I do want to open these up. I'm dying to open these up. I don't want to do a separate video. So I'm opening these right now. These are Marvel Masterpiece collector cards, 6 cards per pack. These are from 1992 and they're unopened. Pretty cool. So would you consider appearing on Frontline Live on Tuesday night? Well, if they ever wanted to have me on, I would be happy to. But I think that they have such a good dynamic amongst themselves. I wouldn't want to ruin that. So, oh man, I can't open these. They've been sealed for so long. What do I have? Where'd my knife go? I used to have a knife over here. Where's my knife? Where's my knife? Okay. These are tough to open. So a couple kind of recap things. If you guys have any questions later on, let me know in the comments. I do have an email address, which is jesse@jlscomics.com. You can always email me there, and I'll add the come on, you son of a. I'm looking for my knife. I lost my knife. Ugh. Can't open them. Let me try the other one. Oh, there we go. That one was much easier. Look at that. The way I always did it when I was younger, and I guess I'm still doing it, is kind of like you pull. I know some people like tear the whole back, but what I would do was like just kind of like open the top. See, just the top's open, and then I would slide them out like this. And that's how I always did it. See? All right, so what do we get? We got Sandman. A little bit of glare on it. Sandman. We would love to have that for a crossover. Okay, cool. Just let me know anytime. I'm down for that. Be happy to do that. Got Night Thrasher. Night Thrasher's pretty damn cool, right? Night Thrasher. Nova. There's some Nova there. And on the back, it's really cool. They have first real name, group affiliation, first appearance, and then like a little recap about it, and then cover of their first appearance. So it says Richard Rider, group affiliation, New Warriors, first appearance, Nova #1, 1976. So pretty cool, right? And they're very like glossy and they're cool. We got Mephisto. Is it Mephisto? Okay. Mr. Fantastic. I remember I would get this card a lot. Many doubles of this card. Pretty cool. You got Dr. Reed, Fantastic Four, FF1, 1961. Jason Sub to Sweet Exorcist. Cool. Is it the first? No. They went back. So this is 92. I think they went back to 1990. I think was the first. This one has the glue, like, there we go. Shoot. Well, that one didn't open the same way as the other one. I was hoping for one of those things, but no. Oh, wow. Okay, so Okay. Leader. Got Leader. Got the Mandarin. There's a lot of villains in here. So there's the Mandarin. I got Hobgoblin. That's a pretty cool card, right? Hobgoblin. Yeah, 1990. Yeah, that was the first ones they did. This one's cool. Iron Man. Whew. I got Gambit. The Gambit card's really cool. There's Gambit. So Gambit's first appearance is 266. I wish I had the Wolverine one to show you because it says Hulk 180 on it. So I showed you the base set that I have here. So I already have these. So these are all doubles. See, there's the Nova one. Actually, this one's my favorite. That Psylocke right there is awesome. See the Psylocke? That's my favorite card of this set. But I don't have the hollow ones, which I was hoping to get in the pack. But I was missing one card, and I got it. Doctor Strange. I had the full set except for the one card, Doctor Strange. So there you go. How cool was that? So even though I didn't get the other ones, got the one I was missing. So that's pretty awesome. All right, and that, I guess, will close out the show, guys. Let me know. I'm looking for some sort of a catchy title for these. And as a reminder, these will be on the first Saturday of each month. I'll be doing these once a month. So go ahead now and send me your questions for the next one. Leave them in the comments. Leave them in my email that I left for you guys. And enjoy the rest of your weekends. Thank you all for being here with me. Thank you for the questions in the live chat. Just hanging out with me. It's been a lot of fun. I will see you guys in the next video, and we'll see you next month for episode 2 of this. Have a nice weekend, guys.